Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Global Career Forum, the international online recruiting event organized for the MBA students from top business schools. We welcome you to today's online session with Admiral Group, and we have the pleasure to welcome for this live session our two keynote speakers, Deborah Reeve, who is Executive Recruitment Manager and Talent Acquisition Manager, and Valvanus Guerrero Perez, who is Executive Recruitment Officer at Admiral Group. As this is a live Q&A session, I do invite all participants to ask your questions in the Q&A panel on the top right side, and we'll convey them to the two speakers. Deborah and Valvanus, warm welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, and nice to see that there are some people joining. We look forward to receive your questions.
Excellent. So perhaps to kick off this presentation, may I ask you both to present yourselves, your career path, and your current role at Admiral Group?
Yes. So I'm Valvanus. I joined Admiral Group 2.5 years ago. All my background is in HR, so I decided to join Admiral as part of the People Services Department, firstly as an intern here in Cardiff, and then they offered me to stay permanently as part of the executive recruitment team, working with Deborah. So that's me in a nutshell. Very nice to meet you all.
And my name is Deborah. I come originally from France. I moved to Cardiff about 4 years ago now, initially to launch a startup in talent management. Did that for a couple of years and then was quite interested into Admiral, that is a quite prominent brand here in Cardiff. What really attracted me in Admiral was the entrepreneurial mindset. So I joined as part of the business development team first as a graduate, worked on some diversification projects for the group, and then moved to my first level of HR and became the executive recruitment manager. So our job with Valva is quite interesting. It's trying to find the future leaders of the business. So we spent some time traveling in different business schools across Europe, trying to promote the brand and different roles within the business.
Excellent. So if we talk about the business today, Admiral Group today, what are the main challenges? What is basically the key messaging that students should be aware of today?
Yes. So initially we started off as a mainly car insurance company in 1993. So we became the market leader on the market in car insurance. However, we feel like there's a need of diversification now because most of the people here would be aware that driverless cars are around the corner, automated cars. So, which means it's great for most of our grandchildren because it means there'll be much less car crash. But when you're a car insurance, it means the amount of premium will decrease as well. So as a company, we have that need to diversify. So for us, the main challenge and the challenge that has been given by our CEO is to have a third strategy. So I can explain quickly what that means for us. At the moment, car insurance is like a main chunk of our profit in business, and we've got other kind of insurance and other products. The idea is to even up all this so that we end up with a third of profit coming from car insurance and motor insurance, a third coming from other kind of insurance like home insurance, household insurance, travel insurance, the pet insurance, and other kind of insurance. And the third would be from other kind of products. So recently we've launched personal loans as an example, but we are really eager to launch new products in the future in order to even out our source of profit.
Excellent. And what's planned for the future? What's next? How do you see the company evolving in the next 5-10 years, and also the talent that you would be needing moving forward?
Mm-hmm. So I think it follows that strategy. So in the past, it was all about geographical expansion. So as soon as we were market leader in the UK, we thought, how about we bring what we do well to other markets? So that's where we're expanding geographically to France, Spain, Italy, the US. But we feel like now it's more about product diversification rather than geographical expansion. So it's about strengthening our brand in our international operations, so making sure we break even and they are profitable. But in the UK, it's about product diversification. So it's about taking our competitive advantages. We're very good at assessing risk and pricing. We're really good at digital, and we're really good at customer services. So it's about using those competitive advantages and apply them to new products. And that's where we came up with loans, for example. But we are very eager to bring creative mindsets, quite entrepreneurial people who would be able to help us, think about the right product for the right market and help us diversify in terms of products.
I guess if I can add other challenge for Admiral, we are very focused as well to find the right people. So for us, another challenge would be to keep the culture that our founders work very hard to find, to set. So at the moment, it's we need to find the right people for Admiral, and we are very proud of our culture. So yeah.
I don't know if maybe some of you have seen that, but this week we've been voted best place to work, best big company to work in the UK. So we are really proud of that and very proud to celebrate that this week.
Excellent, congratulations. It's definitely something to be proud about. Something you mentioned, and I think people would want to learn more, culture. What is the company and team culture like?
Yes, so as Barbara said, it's something very important to us. So it's funny the way it came up. So basically when Henry, our founder, was working on the business plan of the business and working on the culture he wanted to see, he was standing there with David, the other founder, and they all made a list of all the horrible manager they had experienced and horrible working environment culture they had in the past. And they just said, okay, those are the things we do not want to see in our business. So they came up with 4 pillars of the culture, which are communication, equality, reward, and fun. And I know lots of companies come up with some pillars and words like that, but for us, for each one of those pillars, things are implemented in the background. And I think for me, what really struck me when I joined Admiral is that how they manage from a startup side to a 10,000 staff business to maintain that culture as it grew. So yeah, I would say those 4 pillars are really important for us. And it would be things like, leaving your ego at the door when you come in. There are some very smart people here working at Admiral, but you would not be able to tell the difference. I mean, their attitude is really positive. We have a very collaborative environment. We help each other to achieve the same goal. We are all shareholders, which bring that sense of equality. And we all work for the benefit of the group. We have an open space within the office, which emphasizes sense of equality. And a very flat structure as well is part of our culture, and I think this is quite attractive for MBA students. It means we're here to listen ideas, we're here to implement things quite fast, and sometimes the insurance business is not necessarily related to entrepreneurial mindset, but that flat structure allows us not to have too many red tape, and it means ideas can be implemented quite fast within our business, and also the career opportunities are there because of that flat structure as well.
And of course, we love our fun environment. We are constantly arranging things, activities for the employees, and there is always something going on, especially in important events like Valentine's Day or Halloween or Christmas, like baking competitions, or one day everybody wearing pajamas. And so
not everyone has to take part in the pajama day.
I'm just saying. You can participate and you can win, I don't know, like a voucher because your pajama is the best. So these kind of things, and we believe that makes the difference when you come to work. And of course, we work very hard as well, but
Yeah, I think when it comes to the culture, something to bear in mind as well is like most of our staff, well, it kind of even out as we grew, but historically it's mostly made of call centers, so people doing the claims, outbounds, and sales over the phone, which is a very hard work. So that's also why there was this element of fun really important for us to make sure, although it's a very hard work, when people are not on the phone, at least they know they're in an environment where they're cared for. And where they can have a bit of a break. So that's where those kind of fun elements came from. And obviously, in the finance department, the idea of fun is a bit different from the call center idea of fun. And it's just nice to see how people just adjust depending on the department.
Excellent. So today you have a few openings. We're also promoting them through the Global Career Forum. You're looking for new talent. Could you share a bit more about these positions in terms of what departments are they in, and what is the profile that you're looking for?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so most of the time we are looking for business development managers, our BDMs, and international pricing managers, IPMs. The business development manager is like an internal consultancy role. We are looking for people preferably with language skills, that they will be working on projects related to growing opportunities for Admiral, for here in the UK, and also for our international operations. That's why it's a plus when they come with language skills. And this kind of projects, well, it can be like exploring new opportunities, launching new products, looking at the new markets, or just improving internal processes. So this mix of projects, and the international pricing manager, these candidates will become experts in this particular area of the business, working on projects more related to our to pricing and data, and assessing risk of potential customers. I don't know if you, yeah.
And finding new ways as well of where to get that data from. It's such a big thing, a big topic at the moment. It's how to be creative enough to find where to find how to price our customer accordingly, but how to find new ways of getting those data creatively. Basically, the role is a bit to predict the future and see how if a certain group of people would have certain kind of claims and so on. And so it's such a key skill to have for us as a business. It's one of our competitive advantages to be able to do pricing. So I would say for people who are really just data-driven, very analytical, love logical thinking, pricing would be for you. If you're more of an entrepreneurial mindset, like to think like strategically about the future of the business, the BDM scheme it would be for you. I think to add up on the BDM program, International Business Development Manager role, there are I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's a scheme because it's a sort of rotation program. So on average, you would stay on average 2 to 3 years within that role. But then the ultimate idea is for you to integrate into a senior leadership position. Same with pricing. So you spend some time in that department to have an holistic approach of the business. So you spend a bit of time in marketing, a bit of time in operation, to really get to know yourself, get to see what makes you tick. And then once it could be like you work on a project, you work on a new project, and you want to head that launch. That could be you, or there's an opportunity that comes up in the business for you to step into. That's also the point. So the point is not to remain a business development manager for a long period of time, but more to train you as a future senior leader of the business, and then to step into a leadership position. Equally for the international pricing manager role.
There is also the opportunity of joining Admiral like a business development manager, and then you feel like exploring pricing, and you move to be a pricing manager, so that's totally fine. In Admiral, you are in charge of your own career path, so it's flexibility.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the skill set that people we look for, I think there are 3 main things that we are after for those roles. First, it would be an entrepreneurial mindset, as we say. You will join a business of 25 years, so we are eager to have people with very fresh ideas and a willingness to challenge the way we do things, and we will listen to those ideas. Secondly, an analytical mindset. So when you go to a business and a department and you have all those research that has been done, all that data, it's your responsibility to really have a sharp look at it and to come up with some great suggestion and analyze the data. And then thirdly, a good cultural fit. As Barbara say, we want to bring the right people for our culture, so the cultural fit would be really, really important. So yeah, those 3 things would be the 3 things we look for.
Perhaps a few words on the background. Are candidates supposed to have a specific background experience? Are you targeting specific schools? Do you sponsor for work permits?
So I can answer the first part and the second part. So in terms of the background, I think that's where we go for MBAs, because we don't look for specific background, and we feel like the MBA really gives you that overall like great business foundation. So actually we're quite eager on various backgrounds. If we look at our current cohort of BDMs, we've had like journalists, we've had former consultants, we've had people working in laws, we've had people working in marketing. So we really, really value that diversity, and we believe that those MBAs give them the right business foundation to then tackle the IBDM role, the IPM role. So as long as they have the skills that we mentioned earlier about the mindset, the analytical skills, and the fit, plus a good MBA. We feel like this is what we look for, and we're quite open in terms of background. So it's more the motivation, I think, we look for, people who really feel like that role would be something that fits them, rather than the proper background. Obviously, we leverage any kind of skills that are from the previous background. In terms of the
and well, we are very keen to meet students from all over the world. So the moment or historically we have been targeting some specific business schools, but that's why we are doing, for example, this live session, because we are very keen to meet everybody, and that's why as well we do sponsor visa and any work permit.
Excellent. Question coming in from the audience from Tom. He's asking about timelines for IBDM applications, and I thought perhaps you could expand a little bit more in terms of typical steps in the interview recruiting process.
Yes. So the timeline, well, the whole process from the beginning normally is like 1 month or 1 month and a half. I try to arrange everything as soon as possible, but sometimes, of course, depends on the availability of the managers. So the process starts with a Skype interview with either Deborah or myself and one member of the international pricing team. Then the second Skype interview is with the deputy head of international pricing. And then we will meet the candidate to come to Cardiff to meet our environment and culture, to meet our senior managers, and it will be a full day of interviews. So that will be for the pricing role. For the business development role, it's the same, but meeting the head of business development team, and in the assessment, the candidate will have the opportunity to meet as well our CEOs, the CEO of the UK and the CEO of the group.
And in terms of the timeline to apply, we're quite open, and we're constantly looking for new talent. Obviously, we don't hire much. That's something we can mention. We don't hire many BDMs across the year. On average, it's about 3 to 4. The reason we do that is because of the nature, like the seniority of the role. As you can imagine, if we want them to then integrate into interesting opportunities, we can't hire too many of them. So I think this one will be open for the next couple of months.
Yes. So at the moment, the vacancy is open until March. I don't remember exactly the date, but it's something that we can
extend.
Yeah.
But as soon as we get enough talent, we won't be recruiting anymore. So I think the sooner the better. But there's no rush in terms of when we will close the vacancy. It's more about we're eager to meet talent. So if we find something that we feel could be beneficial for the group, we would be happy to meet them.
Excellent. Next question coming in from Brandon. He's asking you if you could give us an example of typical projects someone in the IBDM team would undertake in their first year.
Yes. Okay. So in the first year, we will make sure to get you a bit out of your comfort zone, and for you to meet any different kind of department. So typically, you would join in. You would have a strong induction to get hold of what insurance is about. There's something that we do within the business which usually surprises the student, but we find really valuable. We would put you on a call center course. So really to get to understand insurance. So for example, you would do 2 weeks on how to take a claim and to process it. So this will really get your hands dirty and get the nitty-gritty of how insurance is working. And then you go on the phone and talk to real customers, and that's part of your first week of training. So be mindful of that. And after that, we organize things that we call port of calls. So that's when we will organize meetings face-to-face with some head of different departments within the business. So it could be people from head of household, head of marketing, head of outbound, just for you to get a really good understanding of the holistic approach of the business, who does what, and so on. And then that's when you get your first project. So it could be, as an example, a first one could be in operation. So it could be working on our loss ratio and try to reduce it by 2.5, I don't know, or 0.5. And mind you, we already do it really well. So you'd have to really dig into data and try to be creative in terms of how we can do that. And then it could be a strategic project. So, for example, We have household insurance in UK. We just launched it in France. You could be asked to spend maybe 2-3 months in Italy and come up with a business plan and just recommendation on whether or not we should launch household insurance in our Italian operation. Then you come back. It could be go then spend a bit of time in marketing. They've been trying to launch a loyalty program for a while, but in reality, it's something quite complex to do when it comes to insurance business. Go and make sure help us to launch our loyalty program. Then you come back and you do a 3-month project in anything really. So the idea really is to get a holistic approach of the business and really understand what you enjoy doing. So there's more projects than there are BDMs. So you've got a sort of conversation and we make sure you explore different areas so you really get an understanding of what you'd like to integrate later on in your career within Admiral.
Can I also ask you, related to this, what would then be the performance expectations? To who would these new hires report to? What is the support that they get from top management?
Yes. So as we said, it's quite a flat structure. So they arrive in the business as quite a senior level. So you would report directly to the head of business development, Marisha Koshno. But then you would work closely with either head of department, but sometimes initiatives can come directly from the CEO. So some BDMs, like CEO, like to see the BDM as their right hand. So it could be like our current group CEO, David Stevens, who sits, by the way, just 3 meters away from the BDM pod, come to your desk and say, oh, would you have the capacity to have a look at this? I've been reading and thinking about this. Would you mind just spending maybe the next 4 weeks working on that? And then you would, give your recommendation to him. So it's a mix of, first, you report to your line manager is the head of business development, but then she reports directly to the CEO. So that's about the level you can think of.
Excellent. You've mentioned before that you have and that you're looking for MBAs. How many do you have currently in the organization, and in what roles are the majority of them?
I think in 30 overall.
Yeah. I would say, well, overall in the different departments, because as Deborah mentioned before, you join as a BDM, but then you can join other departments. So I would say overall 20 or 30. But at the moment in the business development team, I would say 4 in the UK, but we have as well business development team in our international operations, so at least 2 per country. And the international pricing team, I will say 3 or 4 MBAs, if I'm not wrong. It's very hard to keep track of.
Because it's a scheme that then you integrate permanently in the business. It's constantly moving. But I think the point we can make here is that we are a company that really values MBA, and we know what an MBA is, and we really make the most out of it. If you look at most of our CEOs in the UK and internationally, they all came from one of those teams, either IPM or BDM. So all our CEOs can come from the BDM scheme or IPM scheme. We have the example of Cristina Nestares, our UK CEO. So she started off as a BDM. She launched our Spanish operations, Balumba and Seguros in Spain, worked I think for 7 years, 8 years, and then came back to the UK and became the UK CEO of our UK operation. So that's quite like good career path from her side. We have our current US CEO. So he started as an international pricing manager. Then he spent some time in operation heading claims, and then he was head of marketing, and then he was appointed CEO of our US operation. So that's another example of a career path. Obviously, it's based on your performance. Not all our BDMs become guaranteed and they become CEOs. Some people, for entrepreneurial launch, for example, our travel insurance, and now they are heading that. One of our BDM army now, he's heading new products in our AFSL, to financial services. So he's looking at different financial products we could launch, and he's really exciting opportunities as well. So those are the kind of stories we have within the business. But yeah, main point is that we really value MBAs. There's lots of tremendous opportunities if you work hard within the business as an MBA.
We have a video on our website with I think most of our MBAs, but here in the UK. So in case they want to have a look, and they tell a little bit of how it's been an MBA here in Admiral Group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and feel free to contact them. I mean, they're more than happy always to share the experience, and if you'd like to have an insight into the roles, they're more than happy to chat. So feel free as well to do that.
Excellent. Another question coming in from the audience, a candidate saying that they did their research on Admiral and they saw you have a business segment regarding price comparisons,
Yeah.
like Confused.com, and saying that this is very different from traditional insurance.
Yeah.
Could you tell us more about this segment and how it supports the overall strategy of the company?
Yeah, no problem. So it's quite interesting to see how it came up. So because our two founders were MBA, the idea was really they were not from insurance, so they saw the insurance market as an opportunity to be disrupted. So they were the first one to launch direct insurance, where in the car insurance market, it was mainly broker-led. So they came in and they were the first one to do direct insurance, and that's what really helped them to gain some market shares when they started 25 years ago. And then as the internet was arriving, Henry, our founder, really saw it as an irresistible force. And he was the first one to think, hey, hold on, why don't we have a price comparison website? It seems like a very logical thing to do. But back then, no one was doing it. So people sometimes don't know that, but Admiral was the pioneer in price comparison website and aggregators. So we launched the first aggregator and price comparison website. And that really is what really make the business, kick off. And that's where we earn so much market share, because in the UK specifically, there was a real switch in terms of distribution channel, and most British people started using a price comparison website. And if you think about it, it's a fantastic way to get to know the business as well, to kind of understand how the market is working, what people look after, and so on. However, there's a clear, we call it like a bit of Chinese wall between Confused.com business and Admiral, because as you may imagine, in terms of regulation, you can't communicate much information between the two. So it is part of Admiral Group, but there's not so much communication in terms of the data, because obviously they're working with some of our competitors, and we have to respect that. Otherwise, none of our competitors would go on our platform. So there's this sort of like section between our two businesses. However, we know them really well. Some of our interns would work sometimes in Confused, so they're a very good relationship, obviously, between the senior people and the staff in general, between Admiral and Confused. But in terms of information sharing, they are quite separate. And it's a model we've been then expanding. So in France and Spain, we launched also a price comparison website. However, the shift from other kind of distribution channels to the price comparison channel is still yet to happen. So we spend a lot of marketing effort in France, for example, with our Le Lynx brand, to make sure French people switch to price comparison. In Spain, Bracero is doing really well. This shift has happened, and now it's a very well-known brand. But yeah, definitely a very interesting brand. We have an entity called Premium in Admiral that is looking at emerging markets. So although we decided not to launch, or at the moment, but never say never, we may in the future, but launch direct insurance products, we do launch price comparison website in emerging markets. We launched it in Turkey, Mexico, and the reason is it really helps us to kind of estimate the market first, see how our competitors are doing, see if there's an appetite for direct car insurance, and if the signals are green, then yes, potentially, and then we would potentially launch direct insurance. So it's a great way to test the market, and quite cheap if you think about it. Quite easy to implement.
Excellent, thank you. Perhaps any last-minute advice for the candidates, those that are interested to apply and would want to learn more, any advice?
So I think, as Barbara said, do visit the blog, the website, have a look and make research about the business. If you have any questions, please feel free to give our email address away. We're more than happy to answer questions. And yeah, just give it a go. We know insurance is not necessarily known as the sexiest industry for MBA, but we like to believe we're a bit different. We're really entrepreneurial, and yeah, if you join us, you'll really be giving the freedom to innovate and yeah, to grow a very interesting career. So make lots of research before the interview, please. It will really help you to answer our cases accordingly, and yeah, just be curious about this industry that you may have not considered, but have a look at what we do and yeah, consider it. And we look forward to meeting you guys.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Deborah Valvanus, for taking your time to be with us here today and share more with us about Admiral Group. To the candidates, we are going to put the recording of this session on the event website within a few hours. Thank you again for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.